preparing for today was very difficult because I think any business that has survived the last 5 years in Ireland and are here today deserve a clap on the back and really don't need to be told anything. And to put the presentation together, I suppose I went back to At Your Service, and two of the things that we find At Your Service is the root of all evil in 90% of the places we go, and the best shows of At Your Service are on the cutting room floor because you don't see the real thing at all because we're nice to people. But what we find, two things. One is inheritance is a huge issue, which maybe the SFA can address at another forum, but it is something we find that 90% of the places, that is a problem. The wrong person has inherited it. They haven't got the wherewithal to drive the business forward. They've come down through the generations, and all of a sudden they realise they're 65 years of age. The electricity has been cut off because they haven't the money to pay the bills, and life is a disaster. And that happened in the middle of filming in one particular property. And you would feel so sorry for them, but it was a problem that went back 35, 40 years. The wrong person got the business. The other problem is that businesses get stale, and certainly in small businesses, maybe 4, 5, 6, a half a dozen employees, you do so much work that in our case where we have 50 or 60 employees, we don't have to do because we have an accountant, we have a HR, we have all of those departments, whereas we've just opened a new business in Kenmare and my wife runs that. She's there at 7 o'clock every morning because she does it all. And I don't tell her she shouldn't be doing it, she does it and it's great. But it is a very different place to be. And again, in 5 or 10 years' time, you find yourself in a position where you say, oh God, business is going down, and you don't have the wherewithal to pull it together because you've been so swamped by operations morning, noon and night. And certainly in the hotel business, it is a 24-hour business, much different than retail or anything. You close your door and you go home. You never close the door in a hotel. It is a very different place. So from that point of view, that's where I'm going to concentrate on this. This here is my screensaver on the computer at home, and every day when I turn on the computer, I see that. I don't want to be a green apple, I want to be the red apple. And that's what drives us on a daily basis at home. The green apple I see is the hotel that advertises, excuse me now, I know there's people here from newspapers, but anyway, advertises in the back page of the paper and competes on price. As a small business, we don't have the ability to do that because we need our price to make things work. We don't have the margins that other properties and the volume, more importantly, than other businesses, big business have. So we cannot go into that space, and that's why we need to be the red apple. To be the red apple, you need to think differently and you need to package and offer your product in a different way than the mainstream. And again, when you get so swamped in the day-to-day business, you tend to go mainstream, and we have to pull people out of that on a regular basis. The first thing I do when we go into an At Your Service is I ask the owners, why do people buy their product, okay? And it is amazing the answers we get. It is frightening. One of the questions or the answers that we get on a regular basis is, what do you mean? Okay, they don't even understand the question. Okay, it's a very, very simple question, all right? You would think every business would know it, but I can guarantee you 50% of people in this room here today, even after coming through the 5 years that we've had, don't know the answer to that question. And one little example of that is AT Cross. AT Cross, a hugely successful company some years ago. They had manufacturing plants in 4 continents around the world. I would think everyone of a certain generation had an AT Cross pen in their pocket, and they were hugely successful. One of the first pens they brought out was this silver one with a black top. Every golf club, every tennis club, everyone got one. Hugely popular. Then the market research department went mad and they found gold, and they stuck a bit of gold into it. Then they really went mad and they put all gold with the black top, and then the one with the fountain with the black, and then the one that really rocketed for them was the pure black one with the gold, which was a gorgeous pen. And then they went on to drugs or something anyway, and the research department got carried away again and they brought out this, all right? But what they didn't realize with all the money, and if this can happen, a company of this size with these resources and all the research companies in the world at their beck and call, if this happened, this company, it can happen any of us tomorrow. Because what they didn't realize was that their customers bought gifts. They didn't sell pens at all, they sold gifts. And it was a totally different business. And all of a sudden, when all the golf clubs and all the tournaments had given everyone who was a member in the golf club a pen over the years, they needed to look at something else. And this company didn't have anything to replace it. Whereas this company here knew exactly what they sold. Razor sharp, only a tiny company compared to E.T. Cross in the early days, but they have blossomed and they sell a whole range of things here now. And if you look at a person's wardrobe, you'll see belts, you'll see scarves, you'll see perfume, you'll see earrings, you'll see necklaces, you'll see leather goods, you'll see a whole range of products that they gave. And that's how they developed their business and how A.T. and Cross closed on 3 continents and only manufacture now in the States, and Ireland lost out because they did have a manufacturing plant in Ireland at the time. So the greatest threat to business, we would believe, is that you get blinkered, and we see this on a regular basis. You just get so caught up, as I say, in the day-to-day running of the business, you don't see the wood from the trees. And people don't travel, and if you don't travel, you don't know what's happening down the road. All they see is that the place next door does a carvery lunch, and they say, God, your man's doing great down in the Goat Grill, Charlie Chalk, we'll do a carvery lunch as well. And the only thing you compete on then is price, and you're back into that green apple space where you don't want to be. Charlie does a very good carvery lunch. I wouldn't like to compete with him by any means, but that is a place where we don't want to go, and that goes right across the board. That's small business and indeed international tourism as well. You can see this slide here, a whole series of images for Visit Scotland. Hugely successful campaign by Visit Scotland in recent years. If you're sitting in the middle of Idaho where this is targeted at and you see this, you say, God, yeah, Scotland really looks lovely. But you could turn the page and see that, or you could turn the page and see that. And that is actually, all of those images are from Ireland. So what you see and what you package and what you think is your product may be not what the customer sees. And it is very, very good to bring in a fresh pair of eyes to see your business from outside. We don't do it, don't ring us tomorrow. We're inundated with phone calls, we say no 10 times a day. But it is very good to get someone else to come into your business and say, listen, have a look and tell me what we do, what you see, what we sell and why you buy. And customer research has been spoken about here earlier today, and that is very good. I always remember when I hear about customer research about Henry Ford, when he was asked why did he design the Model T and what market research did he do, and he said, listen, he said, if I had asked the public what they wanted, they would have told me a faster horse. So I always worry a little bit about market research. I guarantee you Apple didn't put people into a room and come out and say, yes, the iPad is what they want. They instinctively knew that that was the way for their product to go because they were in contact and they were a step ahead. I'm nervous of the, excuse me now, market research people, but anyway, there's no eggs in the room, I don't think. I'm just nervous of that. You should be on top of your own business, and the greatest benefit you have as small businesses over big businesses, you're absolutely at the coal face. The A.T. Cross were so far removed from their customer base, they didn't know what they were doing. There isn't a person in this room who doesn't know exactly what's happening in their business. But we're in the middle of one particular program at the moment where the poor guy works 19 hours a day. He is absolutely white on the face. He doesn't know if he's coming or going. And we extracted him, took him out to England for a week just to give him his head, because he's just like that. And I guarantee he will come back and see things. And from our own business point of view, travel is the greatest research that we can do. I always justify staying in a nice hotel on the basis that it's good market research, because I learn nothing in a mediocre hotel. So brother doesn't like when I go home with the bills, but that's life. But the packaging of the business is where you will get benefit and where you will get margin, because you cannot be competed. These 3 slides here is probably the reason why I believe Ireland from a tourism point of view is in the doldrums, and where South America is beating us left, right and centre in places like Chile and Peru, because they're innovative, they're creative, they're the type of advertising that you want to get involved in and say, God, that's a fabulous experience. And as value has been spoken about here earlier on, we never compete on price. The last thing we will ever do would be compete on price. I've just opened a new place, and this isn't a sales pitch yet, I'll come to that in a minute, but we've just opened a new place in Kenmare where we sell tents, okay? Luxury tents with proper beds, duck-down duvets, goose-down pillows. I sell the tent at €150 a night, and everyone thinks it's great value. I spoke to a hotelier the other day. We were at a show in Cork. She was asking us about the tent. I was telling her all about it. God, she says, yeah. She says, how much are they? I says, €150 a night. God, she says, they're great value. I said, yeah. I said, they're great value. So the conversation went on. This lady had developed a major hotel in recent years, spent 15 million on it. I said to her, I said, tell me now, I said, how much are you for a room tonight? Oh, she says, maybe 65, 70 euros. Okay? So the comparison between price and value and the cost of the product doesn't exist. It's how you package it and how you present it. And that's what makes Drumquinner work for us. And likewise in the Park Hotel. Park Hotel, by no shot, is the finest hotel in the world. but we offer a really superb experience that I think would be hard to beat anywhere in this country and further afield because of what we build around it. It's not the bricks and mortar, it's not the pillows, nothing is the best, but when we put the whole thing together, it's a very, very good package, and that's the exact same, and that's what we need to do with Ireland from a tourism point of view. We need to package, and from a business point of view, the unique selling things that are unique to our business, what the value that we bring to our business, and that means that they are unique to you and no one else can compete with you, and that's the best space of where you want to be. Fresh eyes will show you that, and if you bring fresh eyes into your company to look at your company and see exactly what you're doing, I think that with the right people that it will bring wonderful rewards to you. One particular example is this girl here, Ellen MacArthur. She had a desire to sail around the world, the first lady to sail around the world single-handedly, all right? She had the ability to do it, no question about it. She was a hugely accomplished sailor. She had all the contacts that you would need. The one thing she was short of was money to do it, and as you can imagine, that would be a fairly high-ticket package to put together, multi-millions. So she calls in a whole load of people into a room. And the guy who she brought in from outside of the sailing world as a marketing manager said, listen guys, he said, forget about it. He said, leave it with me. He said, this is my space. He says, we'll come back in a month's time, we'll see what we do. So he went off about his business, didn't speak to them at all, and he came back in a month's time, and he had secured the sponsorship for her from B&Q. All right? B&Q is a worldwide brand that we all know, all right? Yesterday or the day before, I took a snapshot of their website, and I'm a boater myself, as are one or two people in the audience, on the B&Q website, all right, you will find everything that you would ever want, unless you're a sailor. Okay, there's absolutely nothing on it for a sailor. Okay, they don't sell the ropes, they sell nothing, absolutely nothing, but they secured that. And he secured it because he had a fresh pair of eyes, and he was able to marry two different things. And when the last line he said to the girl, or the directors, when he went to present about Ellen MacArthur, was that there was nothing like doing it yourself. And that's why he secured the biggest check for her from a resource that was highly unlikely to get money from. He would be put on a white coat and sent out to Dundrum if he said it at the table, because the guys, the sailors who are all their lives in sailing, would never have gone to B&Q, and that's what a fresh set of eyes can do for you from a business point of view. We had a man who stayed with us recently in the hotel, a regular guest, who would be one of the most respected retailers in the world. A really nice man. He comes down to us, kicks off his shoes. He's a nightmare to work for, but he's lovely when he comes in his holidays. And he came, and we were having a chat about business, and he said something to me which I thought was very tough, which I would have expected, but very, very true. And that in the current market, you will not get growth in your business unless you take it from your neighbour. Okay? Which is a very, very hard thing to do and a very hard thing to say, but he's actually probably very right. Because in the market that we have seen, where people see stagnant from the poll that was taken a few minutes ago from this room, it is unlikely that there's going to be a huge upturn in business, whether it be domestic or international, in the short term. And to survive, if we are on the bottom, I believe we would be happy enough. If it takes a little dip lower, I think a lot of us are going to be in further trouble. But to keep ahead and stay ahead in business, I think to look at your neighbour and to offer something that your neighbour is not doing. Because if you offer, you think the same as exactly as your competitor in business, you offer the market nothing different, and you are back to that situation where you were competing on price. So, to finish up, there we go. The future of your business is in your hands, as you all know, okay? But I think this apples is great, because every day when you turn it on, you say, God, I want to be the red apple. I don't want to be the green one. And it is absolutely up to you. And as a small business, at no stage can you ever miss an opportunity, all right? So I won't miss one either, if that's all right. So thank you very much. Thank you.